Yeah, biggest takeaway is like just for me, it was the people that I was around that gave me the opportunities to fail and supported me when I did. And then, but like, also that was a big encouragement to like take some risks. And
does that carry over?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Yeah, to kind of be that same manager early on. He was like, "Hey, you're gonna feel like you're the youngest at the table, and you maybe are, but you gotta own your seat at the table."
Matt Woolley Podcast.
Okay. Welcome to another edition of the Matt Woolley Podcast. Because I'm an encourager, I would like to encourage everyone to please like and subscribe. And while you're doing that, let me tell you about this is an exciting day for the Matt Woolley Podcast because longtime friend and business associate Tripp Cashion is on the show today.
I'm here.
Tripp, thank you for being here.
Yes, Matt, thanks for the invitation.
All right, so before we get off into all the talky, we let everyone know who's being interviewed, what is their background, and I had to put this in like a 6-point font. To get this on one page.
Whatever.
All right, so who is Tripp Cashion?
Yeah, man.
Hold on. Okay, I'm gonna ask him.
That's a rhetorical. That's rhetorical. All right, yeah.
All right, so I'll tell you who he is. He's a husband and father. Is that correct?
Nailed it. Yeah.
So someone married you and decided to have kids.
Correct.
That's awesome.
I think that, very costly. All too good.
Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah. Huge dowry.
All right. So you are a University of Arkansas graduate with a bachelor's. And when I was, I pull all this stuff from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And so, nobody lies on LinkedIn.
No. Yeah. This is good.
This is one of
this is
great.
Facebook or something.
Yeah. This is the real deal.
This is real. Yeah.
And so you have a bachelor's of science and industrial engineering.
Yeah.
That's
fooled you.
And then you also have a master's of business administration.
Yeah.
So that's pretty sweet. Now we're going to get off into this in a second. Well, let's see the full career.
All right.
You were at Walmart Corporate as a replenishment analyst. You are also a replenishment manager, and you were a replenishment manager supervisor.
Yeah.
And then you worked for the almighty Pfizer.
That's right.
Consumer healthcare. You were senior replenishment planner for customer ops and for the Walmart team. And then you were also customer ops manager for the Walmart team. And then last but not least, because I didn't know anything about this, because all I know is from Harvest.
That's right. Yes.
But Harvest Group National Account Manager, that's where I first met you.
Yep.
And since then, you have become Senior National Account Manager. And then you've been Team Lead for Health and Wellness Consumables, then Director of Health and Wellness Consumables. And now you're currently the Vice President of Sales for Walmart Health and Wellness Consumables.
Another one slips through the cracks. There we go.
Yeah. So, where do we begin? Let me start off.
Yeah.
Tripp, where are you from?
Yeah. Well, thanks for laying it out like that. I'm sweating.
Is your eye flashing before your eyes?
It's a great eulogy.
He was a good man.
He was a good man. It was a good ride. Yeah, man. Born and raised in Little Rock.
What?
Yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah.
How did I not know this?
Little Rock guy. Mm-hmm.
Well, I was born and raised about 15, 20 minutes south of Pine Bluff.
That's right.
Hey, you never told me Little Rock.
Though. Yeah, Little Rock.
So you can get it.
Yeah.
What part of Little Rock?
Lived in kind of like the west central part of Little Rock, and now my parents still live there. They live out in the county now.
Nice.
So it's kind of like going to the farm. He's got like a little lawn tractor.
Oh,
kids love it. But yeah,
acreage.
A little bit.
Sunshine.
Yeah, it's sunshine. It's just
green grass.
Wonderful down there. Yeah.
Get moved away from the big city.
Yeah. I don't know, the smog of Little Rock. No, loved growing up in Little Rock. I kind of say like when I was graduating high school, I was like, I think I'm going to move out. I'm going to like leave, go to college somewhere else.
How the parents take that?
You know, they were like open to it. Both my parents are not. They went to college outside of Arkansas, and so they were open to it. But I had a older sister who's 2 years older than me. Great role model. Looked up to her.
Are you the baby?
I'm the baby. There's just two of us. Older sister.
You really?
Yeah. Could you tell that?
No, actually, don't strike me as the youngest child. So that's great.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I do feel your pain. I haven't experienced it, but I have many friends that had an older sister.
Yeah.
It's different.
It is. Yeah. I mean,
but it helps you. It helps you in a lot of ways.
I hope so. Yeah, I think so. There was definitely a time where like we weren't the best of friends.
Right.
So we're really good friends now. But anyways, she had come up to Arkansas and was like having a great experience. She was actually an Arkansas cheerleader for a little bit.
Oh, nice.
So she was like living the full SEC experience, and I was like, okay, maybe it's not that bad. Stay in state, go to school up here, and
do you have ambitions to go somewhere else?
I looked at a few other places.
Don't tell me LSU.
No, nothing in the SEC.
Okay.
And so yeah, I looked at a couple other places, but really ended up only applying to Arkansas.
Oh wow!
So
put all those eggs in that.
Yeah, just like rolling the dice. But yeah, it was a great decision. I mean, obviously, there's a ton of people that come up from Little Rock.
Oh yeah.
So
I love talking to Southern Arkansas folk.
Yeah,
and by Southern Arkansas folk, I mean Little Rock and lower.
Yeah,
there's really not.
It's a weird bubble up here.
Oh,
like it's like a different,
like this is in Arkansas.
Yeah,
it's Arkansas, but it's not like it's. I tell everybody like people that have visited, we get, and I know you're the same. You get people from New York, L.A., Chicago, Minnesota, you name it, Seattle, whatever. They come here, it's like, man, I've heard everybody give Arkansas such a hard time. This place is great, and it's like Arkansas is great. But please understand that Northwest Arkansas is an island compared to the rest of them.
I'd like to drive you 1 hour in any other direction.
Have you ever seen Dardanelle?
Yeah. It's time of year, honestly.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, but yeah, so I came up here.
We're not going to get anything done today.
No, it's great. I love this. A funny story about coming to Arkansas, though, is I had made the decision. I was like, I'm not going to study business. Like, I'm going to do something different. And I was like, maybe I'll do engineering. I like math. I felt like I was pretty good with Legos.
Are you good with math?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
are you good with Legos? That's
great with Legos. Man, master builder. But they did this like engineering weekend. You come up to Arkansas and you like pick like 2 of their disciplines and you like go tour like those little areas. There was like a pamphlet, and one was like the civil engineering one was like this bridge being built, and I was like, again, Legos. Feels like, okay, cool.
I've done this.
Yeah, it's just bigger scale. These are really big Legos. And then the other one was a roller coaster for industrial engineering, which was like, hindsight, I was like, that makes 0 sense. But I was like, I like roller coasters, so let's go civil.
Have you ever been on the Arkansas Twister?
Yeah. No. That's awesome. And so those are the 2 that I chose. The first one, civil engineering, toured them, and man, this is terrible, but like, unfortunately, the guy who spoke, English was not his first language. I couldn't understand anything he was talking about. He was talking about something about a concrete canoe that floated. I don't know how that was.
Cool.
But he lost me. He lost me on the concrete canoe deal. Went to industrial engineering, and a very charismatic speaker. He was like, it's a blend of engineering and business and process improvement. I was like, sold. And so like, that was literally the path that I took. It was like, came up, one decision, roller coaster tycoon, went industrial engineering route. And yeah, that's like how it like kind of all unfolded from this like little trifold pamphlet.
So you went through the entire gamut of everything. So technically, do you still carry your skill sets for engineering?
Well, I didn't like. I guess you have to like go in and be a professional engier.
Yeah.
Take all that. I didn't do any of that.
But all your school learnings.
Yes, it is in there. It's in there.
Well, I mean, I could see though being in, and we worked together.
Yeah. 9 years. I've been at this for 9.
Been a minute, and we worked on some projects that I could see. Having that understanding could help you. Has it benefited?
It definitely helps. Like, what they just like drill into you in engineering is like problem solving. And so being able to dissect a problem and then try to figure out a solution from it. And so,
do you get frustrated when problems come up, or are you the more optimist? Or somewhere in the middle?
Man, somewhere in the middle. Sometimes I get frustrated, like this problem could have been avoided. That's why it was like, gosh, this is silly. We shouldn't even be here
Right.
But then I do get some joy and fulfillment out of like trying to solve problems. But yeah, it's a happy blend of both. I just create a lot of problems.
I understand. I do the same very regularly. I solve the problem I create.
Yeah. It's I think it's just
we need to have a meeting on this problem that I created. Okay. So let's talk about so he went. I mean, and that's not. Those aren't easy courses to.
No.
And I still don't. Well, we'll get off into this. So you get this engineering degree, and obviously, I'm assuming. Did you follow through on your master's, or is that something you got off into a career?
I got that when I was at Pfizer. I went back and started getting my master's.
Okay, so let's stop right there.
Yeah.
Stop right there.
Yeah.
So, all right, got this engineering thing down.
Now what do I do?
Let's go to Walmart corporate and work in replenishment.
That's right. Yeah. Well,
how did that happen?
It was kind of like this second time of like, hey, I think I'm going to leave the state. I don't know why. I kept had this mentality after college or before college, I'm going to go somewhere out of state. After college, I'm going to go somewhere out of state. Didn't have a girlfriend. Yeah, I'm going to go to Tulsa. Funny you said that. I did tour Tulsa, but it's fun. That's a different story for a different time. But love Tulsa. Great people.
Yeah, I do love Tulsa.
Yeah,
great music scene too.
You're right. I like it. Yeah.
Anyway,
so
enough of the jokes, man.
Went to the career fair and got 2 interviews with Walmart. One was in logistics. One was in replenishment. Really didn't know what that even meant. And interviewed with them and ended up getting a job offer with replenishment. And so I was like, well, I guess I'll stay. Well, I'm going to try this out. Let's check it out. And so my first role, it was like a training program within replenishment, but it was in meat and seafood. So the first desk that I managed was frozen turkeys and smoked ham products.
Yeah.
So very busy around Thanksgiving and Christmas. The rest of the year, not a lot going on. Almost zero.
Every month. Yeah, those turkeys. Are they nice and
very frozen?
Are these going to be moist and easy to cook? Okay. Well, you guys have a good. We'll talk next month.
The first I had a great first manager, and he's still a good buddy today. I was like second or third week, he took me to Huntsville to the Butterball facility.
I bet that was something else. I've seen some turkey farms.
Dude, wild. It was insane. They're whole birds come in, and they're freezing them within 12 hours or whatever, 24 hours. And they come out the other end, frozen, wrapped up, ready to roll. Yeah. But yeah, so that was the
first. Gobble up the experience.
Gobbled it up. Yeah, that's right. I'm taking a nap afterwards. It was great. Yeah, it was a distinct experience, life experience.
Yeah,
but
poultry farms are something else.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's also there's a smell that it's hard to describe.
Oh, I can describe it. All right, so you moved to replenishment manager. So what was that?
Yeah, so let's see. So started in the meat and seafood area, and then moved to dairy.
Oh,
so
it's an interesting category.
We had things like cottage cheese and sour cream, but at that time it was Greek yogurt was starting to really hit the thing, and so I was a part of that, which is kind of weird to think about. I was like, I want to say I had
an instrumental in bringing
Greek yogurt
thousands of years
of Greek yogurt to life. So it is really funny when you start to think about, and then I managed butter.
Oh, dude, yeah.
So straight from turkeys to another good ingredient for Thanksgiving.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. It's funny that you said it real quick, because one thing that you don't get into stuff like that unless you're in a setting like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I've noticed that there's been so many people on this show that have been unintentionally involved in like game-changing products at Walmart, and they had no idea at the time, or they had a gut feeling maybe this was going to catch on.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see that take place. And so, as a guy that loves product, I assume you love product.
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Well, we're kids of the 80s and 90s.
Right.
We're product-driven guys.
Yeah.
And you ever walk the aisles? Because I'm assuming you still drink milk on occasion.
Yeah, every now and then. What are you supposed to dip a Oreo into?
So when you're in those aisles, does it ever, you see all that and you think, you know what I mean? Wow, how far has this Greek yogurt?
Yeah, it's really stuck. I will say, I think like my wife does not really love going to Walmart with me because I don't like.
You're not a standard consumer,
right?
You see both the sides.
Yeah, once you're in this industry, I think you just never shop a store the same.
Yeah.
And so I'm like always taking pictures, or I'm always like trying to tell my wife like, hey, well, this is $9.97 because of, and she's like, I don't care. I really.
And please just put that in the bag.
Yeah, and I know we'll get into like harvest, but I've worked in the supplier world, and I've worked in like the broker space, and it's funny. She's like, can I buy this brand now? Like, are you still working on that brand, or can I buy it? Because she's like, well, I want to support the brands that you're on, but like, I also want to buy this other brand. Like, is that fair game to buy now?
Well, hey, brand loyalty matters in this industry. Brand loyalty.
And she's a great wife, and that she respects that. But
it's not easy.
It's not easy.
It's not easy.
But yeah, it is funny to walk like any aisle now, and because your brain just works a little bit differently, and it is a little bit annoying. I wish I was just like a passive.
Well, you don't see just a pretty package, appealing product. You see the hours that it took to get that package to that place, the hours that it took to present to the buyer, to convince them, and all the steps that it took potentially to get them there. And then you think about the cost to get the product there. Yeah. And then it's the whole thing. Yeah. It's the whole thing. And then you're also looking for the gaps. Yep. Where's that? Well, wait a minute. If this is here and this is here, I'm missing something. Right. Yeah. And, and that is annoying to most people. Now, I thrive on that kind of thing. Yeah.
I love it. I love it too.
Most people, not so much.
Yeah. Most people are just like, I'm trying to get out of the stores because I hate this place. Why are you turning over all the packaging? Yeah. You made this.
So what's your takeaway from your experience with Walmart? What was the biggest benefit, lesson learned? What comes to mind there?
I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like, it is insane what level of opportunity and responsibility that they'll give you as like a 22, 23-year-old person. And, a little terrifying, like that all of like essentially Thanksgiving turkey like rested in my hands. But there was some oversight. I was like, it's not.
If you screw this up, everyone's Thanksgiving.
No one. 300 million people are disappointed with you. Well, sorry, sidetrack.
That's all right.
Funny story so that desk was again like very sleepy through the majority of the year. Not a lot of people buying like a whole turkey in July. There's a few, but the other part of that desk was offals. You know what that is? It's anything else part of the cow that Walmart would sell.
I did not know that.
Tongue, tripe, honeycomb, all the stomachs and stuff. Well, that fell to me because no one else wanted to manage that thing. Also, not a lot of volume, except there are a few stores that love that stuff. And so we got a special.
It's kind of a cultural thing.
It's very cultural. There's like certain holidays too.
Yeah. You ever eaten cow tongue?
I have not. But I've shipped some. So we had a store, we'd get like these department managers or store managers calling in to the meat department merchants. And we got a call in, and this store in Texas wanted 40 cases of like beef tripe. I was like, done deal, easy. 6 months in, I'm your guy. and go place the order. Truck's going to get there like 2 days later. And, we're working, and my merchant gets this phone call, and I can tell he's getting like ripped on this thing. And he's like, I don't know how this happened. I don't know, they figured out all this sort of stuff. And he turns around and he's like, what did you send this store? I was like, 40. Hey, listen, I thought it was a lot. I told them it's a lot, 40 cases. He's like, you sent them 40 pallets of beef tripe. It was like 40,000 pounds to one store. So that was like, I was like 23 years old, and I was like, dude, I'm fired. I'm out. I'm screwed. And it kind of circles back to your first question of like, I had some really, really good like leaders at Walmart. I was just blessed to have really good managers and really good leadership. And my boss at the time would not remember this, but he came by my desk like the next day. I was for sure like, dude, I'm out. Like, I'm not gonna leave this. Right. I'm dead. Like, I don't even know. I guess
there's no rebound.
This one can go build bridges.
Yeah.
And he came by and like tapped me on the shoulder, and he was like, hey man, as long as you keep the mistakes under $1 million, we're good. And I was like kind of laughing, and he was like kind of laughing, but not really laughing. And he was like, no, I was like, you're good. So it was kind of this like weird shift of like, okay, he was actually serious. Also, now it gives you perspective, like the scale of things you're working on. Hey, keep it under $1 million.
Keep that petting.
Yeah. But like in that moment, he's just like, it was a good slap on the back. I'm like, dude, you got this. Keep going. You're going to be all right.
Yeah. It could have tore you down, but
Yeah. So.
And I'm sure that he's had a few of those mistakes too.
Right. That's a lot of beef tripe. I mean, it's,
what did they end up doing with that real quick?
They sent it back. Yeah. We paid for that. Essentially the home office brought that back. They got their work.
Wow.
Whole truckload.
Wow.
Sorry, guys.
Hey.
I get it right. Next time.
Hopefully somebody benefited from that.
It's a lot of stew.
It's a lot. I really said a lot of stew. Hopefully they gave it to a big homeless shelter or something.
Yeah.
Okay, so biggest takeaway from Walmart then?
Yeah, biggest takeaway is like just for me, it was the people that I was around that gave me the opportunities to fail and supported me when I did. And then, but like, also that was a big encouragement to like take some risks. And
does that carry over?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, to kind of be that same manager early on. He was like, "Hey, you're gonna feel like you're the youngest at the table, and you maybe are, but you gotta own your seat at the table." And I think that's something that's stuck with me. It's like he just encouraged me. He was like, dude, you know more about your little part of the business than anyone else in this entire company. So like, own your seat at the table. Like, don't be afraid of that. Like you are the expert. And so I've tried to like humbly keep that going of like owning my seat at the table and being
Is that something
thankful that I'm there.
Because we are at the age where we can talk to people younger than us.
Yeah. Gosh, finally. It's good. You were born in 2000. Let me tell you about the 80s.
So, I mean, do you offer that type of,
I think so. I have shared that a lot, definitely with people that start at Harvest Group, because we probably average pretty young in the supplier space. And so
we were young.
Yeah, I was young too. Yeah, so
it's funny to see all the people in that organization too do not just harvest, other things. It's really
I know.
It is such a wild industry. Like, right. I tell everybody in the miserable times, like, this is the life we've chosen.
Yeah.
But the reality is it's a fun, exciting, and very dynamic industry. And I love even though it's painful times, speaking as a business owner, seeing the shift of people move around and do their thing, it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many. There's a ton of suppliers at Walmart, but like, it is such a small community.
No, it still is.
And I think what's fun, and like, you're part of this to a degree as well, but it's fun to see now that Northwest Arkansas has grown so much outside of just like the Walmart, like the small Walmart ecosystem, right? There's a ton of people that are doing some really cool adjacent things too, that have like maybe birthed out of the Walmart world. And that's a really fun twist of things that you start to see now.
Well, I mean, I tell everybody all the time that Walmart and Northwest, the major businesses in Northwest Arkansas as a whole, we're kind of like the new Rome, honestly.
Yeah, I like it.
It's true.
Yeah.
You know, Rome didn't really produce anything. They just made decisions for everybody. And the core of Rome, that is.
Yeah.
And that's what we do here. Like, you know, Walmart, everyone that's connected in to, you know, the Walmart network, they are making decisions that other retailers are looking at.
Right.
And everybody's got their own way of doing things to a degree, but I tell everybody is that don't be deceived by that, because they are still pulling from the Walmart playbook.
That's right.
And it's the same thing with Northwest Arkansas as a whole. I mean, find me a place that has, you know, you got Walmart, you got J.B. Hunt, you know, Tyson Chicken,
Yep.
George's Chicken, so many of the largest supply. I mean, all the suppliers are all unique right here within a 20-mile radius.
Yep.
It's pretty crazy, very crazy. And I mean, we all play a role in it.
Yeah.
It's really, but it's still a small community.
Right. It's still like a family, family-oriented small. It's
and and that's great too, because there's friendly most of the time. 95% of the time, there's friendly association.
Right.
And there's higher accountability.
Yeah.
Which everyone benefits from.
Man, I love that. That's well said. Yeah.
Well, thank you, sir. Yeah. This smart comment brought to you by.
This 20 over here. No, I did. Well, and I liked what you. So I did have to listen. I apologize. I had not listened to a ton of the Matt Woolley podcast yet.
Yes,
but I did.
Did
go and listen to some episodes, because I was like, man, I don't know what I'm getting. Am I getting into like some tarot card reading, or like we're gonna handle snakes and you're gonna ask me some hard questions? So
is here.
He's in the room with us. So I don't even know what I was getting myself into. But I listened to
You should have been an engineer.
Bridges.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
But like, I listened to your episode and it was great. I learned a ton about you.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
And that was a unique experience, because I've known Randy off and on for years, but we've gotten a little closer as of recent. And you know, he came on the podcast. It was great. He's just the guy beams positivity.
Yeah.
And
you can feel that.
He's a great mentor type, and he's a guy that's always willing to, if anybody needs mentorship, he'll take a stab at it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, just call me. You know. Yep. And you know, and praise God for guys like that.
For sure.
You know? And but anyways, he calls me up one day and he says, "I've got an idea." And I was like, "Well, what's going on?" He said, "Somebody needs to interview you." And I was like, okay, well,
absolutely.
Yeah. Son, yeah. I thought, finally, someone's noticed. No, it honestly, it was humbling for a guy like that to say that. And he said, "I think you have value that people need to hear." And I was like, well, I'll argue with you.
You do.
Well, I appreciate that. But I'm just another schmo, man. And anyways, he said, well, I'll give you the list of questions. I was like, no. I was like, that number one, that wouldn't be fair, because I don't do that.
Yeah.
People that come on my show, because I get honest, transparent conversation.
Yeah.
It's not like a controversial show.
Yeah.
It's not like we're like, so we want to talk about that automotive accident back in '98.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah. Wasn't that tragic? But no, we don't do any of that. But two, you know, I knew that a guy like that was going to make me do a deep dive, and he did.
Yeah.
I walked away. I can't remember if it was on the actual episode or not, but I mean, I told him, this is therapeutic.
Yeah,
it's therapeutic. And
it is.
And it's funny that I don't feel like I'm at the age where I have an ounce of wisdom. I don't.
Yeah.
And but I find people, and I know you do the same. You find younger guys like, hey, so what are you thinking about this? And the answer's obvious to you, but then when you go back in time a little bit, you're like, wait a minute, I remember. And then you're like, wait a minute, am I old?
Right. You're like, oh, you're right. You really find that at Harvest when you cite, you're like, man, I love this song. And people are like, what are you talking about, dude? And it's like from like 2004.
No.
It's like 2004 hip hop. And you're like, so good. And they're like, I've never heard this song before. And you're like, get out. Leave
the room.
You are banned.
Look, I'm going to write you up for this. I struggle with that one too, because I'm the biggest like movie quoter.
Yeah, sometimes
all the classics or what I consider the classics. Like here's a good for instance, and this one just broke my heart, Tripp. So we had our we always do our little holiday things just a little bit before, obviously for the convenience of,
not compete with
right yeah. We're not trying to compete with Thanksgiving, but we want to be thankful. And so we had it about a week before, and Brittany had the idea. She said, while we eat, let's just put on a little movie in the background.
Nice.
And I was like, okay, sweet. And so she chose the movie and put it on the big screen we got, and it was Christmas Vacation.
Just watched it. Amazing.
Right. It doesn't get any better than that.
No.
Half of the table had never seen it. So me and Stephen were sitting there quoting line for line because we've seen it so many times, line for line.
Yeah.
And they're just sitting there like, but I'm going to tell you what.
Yeah.
Here's the beauty of it.
Was it still funny to them?
It was.
Okay, good.
And they were like, it's like, what if there's a look of like, man, this is good.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I'm thinking, how have you not seen it?
Right.
And say things with like music or like movies like Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
I've met people that never seen Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Or people that haven't seen Tommy Boy. That hurts my
It does hurt you. I don't know.
Ace Ventura, yeah. Why is the carpet all wet?
Hard go.
So yeah, you've got a lot of nerve talking to me that way, Chris Wallace.
You don't realize how much you quote. Like you end up like so many lines are from that, or from like you just say these lines and you're like, I don't know what movie that's from, but like it's from like a Dumb and Dumber or something. But
all right, so here's one. We're working with a project that I won't get off into the weeds, but we're working with a project.
Yeah.
That it was involving scrubs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you talking like hospital scrubs?
Yes, like medical. Yeah.
All right,
good call out. Yes, good call out. For you letting out there. We're talking about things that people wear in the
now what do you scrub a dish with? All right, continue. You're not talking like ShamWow or anything.
No. It cleans and absorbs. So we're working on a little thing, and we were back in the production area, creating a mock-up to help these things look good. And one of my guys, who's a younger guy, says, Matt, you want to take a look at this? It's like, I don't want no scrub. And so good. Two people in our age group was like, good one, Matt. And they're looking at me like, this guy's an idiot.
He's like, this is the project. Like, this is the project we're working on. You dumb.
And so it's heartbreaking. It's just heartbreaking. All right.
Good pull from you, though. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Well, I try. So let's get away from the Walmart turkey because we don't want to ruffle any more feathers.
Yeah.
Okay. And
let's go to OTC drugs. Seems like a logical pivot.
So I mean from turkey to one of the leading pharmaceuticals.
Right.
So what made you transition to Pfizer?
So I had gotten married at Walmart, and again, like, loved my experience at Walmart. I just wanted a different experience, wanted a different change of pace a little bit. Had always been interested in the supplier side, knew some guys over there. I had a guy that I knew really well at Walmart that I worked with. He had gone maybe like 6 to 8 months before me to Pfizer.
Mm-hmm.
And so had like a reliable person there that I could trust. I'm like, hey, what's it like?
Mm-hmm.
And so he kind of reached out to me. He was like, hey, we've got this position if you want to come check it out. And so it was an interesting role. It was a kind of a hybrid between like sales analyst to some degree and then replenishment logistics. But so ultimately took the jump over there. It was only about 13 people on that team. Pretty small office. So again, like,
well, I understand because they have such a low budget.
Yeah, I mean, it's tiny.
Those guys don't.
Peanuts.
Yeah,
each desk with like, I don't know, $1 billion. It seemed like. So it was a couple.
You had a horrible year in 2020.
Dude, tough. No one was buying OTC products. It was like, I don't think we need it anymore.
What are we gonna do?
Yeah, what are we gonna do? I guess just eat oranges, which I'm sure a lot of. Anyways,
sorry.
It checked a lot of boxes for me of going still like very safe move. Like I went from Fortune 1, felt very secure at Walmart, to Pfizer, also huge organization.
Right.
Feels like a very secure move, but yet smaller office, felt like family oriented, like wouldn't know everybody. So it kind of like checked both those boxes. And so went over there and great experience. Again, like learned a ton of.
For the sake of time, biggest takeaway, because I want to talk more about heart.
Yeah. Okay.
The biggest takeaway at Pfizer.
I had a great manager, and it like led by example of like rolling up his sleeves, coming alongside us. He was also a strong man of faith, which like helped me start to live out my faith at work.
Yeah.
And I hadn't seen that really yet. And so that's my biggest takeaway is like, man, be willing to like jump into the trenches with somebody, but then also don't be afraid of like
Be who you are.
being yourself in the world.
Be who you're supposed to call to be.
That's right. Yeah. So saw that.
It's awesome. Okay, so what made you want to move from there to Harvest Group?
Well,
Ross Cully ran a few good men.
Yeah, he needed a few good men. Well, so oddly enough, he was like my life mentor at the time.
Really?
He was, yeah.
How did that come about?
Reached out to another friend, a guy who was just in the next life stage than me. He knew of Ross Cully. That I had actually reached out to that guy for a mentor. Sorry, Ross, if you're hearing this, but reached out to that guy first. He's like, I can't take on it.
This is where Ross is listening to his he spits out his cereal. He's like,
and so he pointed me to Ross, and so we actually like for a couple of years we didn't talk about work at all. It was just like life, marriage, next stage like kids and stuff. Until like one day we went to lunch, and he was like, "Hey, I know we said no work, but he's like, I have an opportunity to come over." And that was when Harvest was. We had a health and wellness OTC business,
and y'all are much smaller than.
Yeah, I was like number 50. We're like over 300 now.
That's crazy.
So like, hey, we're trying to continue to build out health and wellness. Like, would you be willing to come over and do that? And so super grateful to Harvest, because I was not in that, like, I was not the account manager at Pfizer. I was more support. And so this was my first opportunity to be actually like carry the bag and be on the sales, like fully the sales front. So yeah, Harvest took a bet on me.
Looks awesome.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like it pays.
I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see.
They're just bringing you up the chain to let you down easy.
Yeah. A long way to fall in here. Yeah. No, I feel extremely blessed. Like, as we've grown, I've been able to grow with Harvest, and they've continued to like make bets with me. And
well, so I'll say this. I tell everybody, there's a lot of people. We work with people all over the country, and obviously a lot of people locally. And there are a few select teams that are always a joy to work with. And,
are we on that list?
Yes, you are. Actually, you're right. I was bringing this up so you could relay this back.
So you need.
Yeah, this is what you guys should be done. Now, in all seriousness, every time that we have been asked to come over to your office or part of a project or anything of that, I don't know. And I've told Ross this himself. I don't know. And it's I feel like it's organic. I really do.
Yeah.
But there is there's always a, have you been helped?
Yeah.
Attitude to it. You guys need something?
Yeah.
Can have? Yeah. And except with you, but other than that, no, I'm kidding. What, Matt? We should talk about all the fun pictures I've left you.
Get
all your little monkey.
Get a little album of you. Maybe Christmas cards coming soon. I was thinking like a calendar, a firefighter calendar.
But seriously, it is overwhelmingly positive vibes.
Yeah.
And you guys always seem to take the approach of the okay, this is a problem, but we're just going to solve it.
Yeah.
It's not like we have never, and we deal with all kinds of people. Again, we deal with all kinds of companies, all kinds of cultures. And the harvest culture, I will say, there have been times that we've talked about, and I think we have a pretty good culture.
Yes,
Einstein's.
Absolutely.
But, we take note of other people that have good cultures, and you guys have always just, I don't know how y'all pull it off.
Yeah, I don't know.
But, we've ever met one person that is not only professional, but also well.
Yeah.
You can be both. And a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people are just real strict in business. And there's that. But you guys have that hometown feel, is what I call it.
Yeah.
And it's very overwhelmingly awesome.
Man, that's awesome. Thanks for saying that. I mean,
it's true. It's true. And I've heard other people say that. I told her, there's been a lot of people that, they've looked at getting into, the brokerage side of things, the retail side of things. I said, hey, look, and so if you're looking for a place that's going to build you up, this is a great place.
Man, thanks.
Yeah, well, it's true, and it's well deserved and earned.
Yeah.
So,
well, I thanks for saying that. It is. I think that what I always encourage people in like again, like the culture of harvest is built by everybody, and we always stress that. It's like, hey, we are all like culture builders or culture destroyers. Like, so it is not a top down culture deal. It's like we are all. I challenge everybody to like you're part of making this either good or great, or great or bad. So like, I think hopefully that encourages people to like be really protective of it. And so we're not always perfect, right? And so there's myself, like there's times where like, man, you can kind of go down a path of like, man, that's not good for our culture. And I love it that we have people that we will call each other out. It's like, man, that's not up to our values. It doesn't matter who you are, like your position or title or anything like that. Like we want everyone to be like culture protectors. And so that's the only thing I can point to is like, man, we've got some amazing, awesome, lovely people at Harvest that are aggressively trying to protect the culture and make it better.
That's correct.
So,
well, the thing is, it's a, and that's where, everybody can say, I have a great culture. Everybody can say,
right,
yeah, these guys are great. But I look at, it's easy all businesses are tough. There's always pain points, right? But here's what I will say. And this is where I not to kiss so much Harvest, but I'm just telling you how it is. Everybody listens like, man, he's really, but I really mean it, dude. I don't say stuff unless I mean it. And so, retail is a very ugly, and frustrating industry. It's a very rewarding and awesome industry. The highs are super high. And the lows are really, really bad. Yeah. And sometimes you have to really, sometimes it gets tough. And when those tough times come, and I'm guilty of it. I've been guilty of, I'm a natural pessimist. I'm the guy that looks at stuff.
It's just funny. I wouldn't think you are.
Well, that's because you're catching me in a situation where and most of the time I'm like, hey, this is good, brother. Yeah. But like strategically, it's more of a strategic.
You're looking for like, how is this? Worst case scenario? This is gonna blow up on us. Something.
If this goes, I always tell people, and businesses need people like that. By the way, But I tell everybody, if I come across, and I've seen them before, if I come across businesses where everybody's the optimist, I say these guys are gonna get screwed. Yeah, because everybody's just thinking best case scenario here. They're not really preparing. Yeah. And I look at it this way. I was like, I look at every project that comes through our doors. I say, okay, what is the absolute worst thing that can happen here? I do. Yeah. I do. Yeah. And then anything. How much money could we lose on that? Yeah. And what is this going to do to our clients? What is this going to do? I think of all the areas of impact. Yeah. Anything better than that's great. Yeah. We did it, and we do say, hey, did a great job. This is awesome. We nailed it.
Yeah.
We have those victories, but somebody has to be on the level.
You're right.
And that's where I go.
Yeah.
But here's the problem, though. Sometimes in a frustrating industry, if I'm not careful, and my team can tell you, they've seen it, I can be the guy that's like, Mr. Bad Guy, say the wrong thing guy. But that's where culture comes in. Now, some people are better than others. I try to be a culture king, but I fall short a lot of the times, believe it or not.
You're doing good.
Well, thank you, sir. And I appreciate this therapy session. It's tough. What I'm getting at is that's why, circling back to Harvest, the fact that you guys maintain that great level of just positivity and problem solving in a very frustrating industry is very commendable. And that's what I was trying to point out, because it is a tough industry.
Yeah, I think it is a very tough industry, and that I've been on so many interviews now with people coming to Harvest, and a lot of people ask hey, what makes you successful at Harvest? What makes someone successful at Harvest? And I normally say two things. One is kind of dealing with that highs and lows, people that are pretty even keeled, or can celebrate the good and not get too beat up by the bad. That's going to serve you well, because that could change instantly, right? One meeting to the next, it could be good and then terrible.
Oh yeah, I say the same thing about retail. Retail is entrepreneurship. You can literally have the best day of your life, the worst day of your life within an hour.
Oh, it's so true. It's so true. So that, and then you got to have a heart to serve. Because, we sit in that middle ground of, we don't make anything. We're not the supplier. We're not the retailer. The only thing we make is our service. And so when you don't, and that's hard to flush out in yourself. It's everyone's I like serving people, but it's you know pretty quickly if an individual has a heart to serve.
Do you guys weed that out fairly quickly at Harvest Group? I mean, I would assume you guys kind of have a gauntlet of testing before that.
Dude, I always say this all the time. I would never get hired at Harvest now. How tough our interview process is. We put people through it. It's, phone screen, multiple panel interviews. We do assessments and stuff. And we feel like it's pretty successful of what we find, but it's hard. I'm not lying. It is hard. And so I'd probably
that's great. Well, I mean, it's easier to, that's probably, a brilliant move on leadership's part by doing that, because it's easier to test the waters. And see things in action with a smaller crew. But as you expand, all it takes is one snake in the barn to get things moving the right direction.
That's right. Yeah.
That's all there's to it. That's number 6 on our culture code. Do not let snakes in the barn.
Is that really?
It really is.
That's the verbatim. I love that.
In that case,
just snake handling.
So, it's so we I actually brought some venom. The song drink and sing. But that is just the truth. Is that that statement came from. I'm not going to name names, but there was a company that were innovators in this area. They were the godfathers of retailtainment, essentially.
Okay. All right.
And they were the guys for a while. Everybody, as far as the industry is concerned in this area, looked to these guys.
Yes.
And there were some changes, some leadership left, and some other, that was the core of it, but another piece of the core was left there too. And they were still evolving as businesses do. But it took a dark turn, and people noticed the turn in the organization. And ultimately it led to spare a lot of details, it led to the downfall of the company.
Yeah.
And so in a mentorship thing that I was having with the leader that was a part of it, I literally just, I'll just come out with it. I said, after 5 minutes of, just whatever, I was like, all right, so look, I got to know.
Yeah.
What happened?
Right.
Without hesitation, he He sets his coffee down. He goes, Matt, we let snakes in the barn. And I was like,
I love that.
whoa.
Yeah.
And so it's so easy to remember, and it's so true. It doesn't, one snake can stir up an entire barn.
Yeah. Well, our CEO Ross says this a lot. Like, your values aren't anything unless they cost you something.
Woo.
That's a good one, right?
Yes.
Ross Cullen, Tripp Cashion, like kind of. So it's me actually. No, it's a good one though. But then I've seen that lived out. Like I've seen our organization make decisions to walk away from millions of dollars of revenue over the course of me being at Harvest because something didn't match up with our values. And you see that over and over again. You're like, okay, this is a real deal. Like those values mean something. We're giving up money, true things, to protect this over here. And so then I think, the more and more we can get people to see those sort of things or hear those sort of things, like that's where you get these people that are pretty aggressive on protecting it. It's like, no, we're this is the way we do it, and we're going to protect it that way.
That's all.
And we're like keeping the
that's not always easy to do.
No.
And as company leadership, I can tell you, which we've had some circumstances like that at Design Steins where it's like, okay, we better not, touch this with the 10-foot pole.
Right.
It's alluring.
Yeah, it's hard to say no.
If you're letting the money drive it.
Right.
Like, they can just bend it this time.
Yeah, it could be all right.
Just a little bit wouldn't hurt. But the truth of the matter is, every time you do that, you're going to get burned.
Yeah.
And you're going to create a ripple. And sometimes that ripple is not salvageable after it's,
sometimes you can't rebuild that trust with whoever it may be or whatever. Yeah. But that's right.
So, biggest takeaway.
Yeah.
From how many years? You said
9.
9?
Yeah, 9 in October.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Around Halloween. Yeah.
Every 2 years you're moving up.
Yeah, let's see what I got
done.
Biggest takeaway from Harvest is going back to like bring your whole self to work. Because I do think that is part of what makes Harvest culture special is like we encourage people to bring the good and the bad. And so I think my biggest takeaway is like if you're not so far in my career, if you're not protecting the home and like making sure that you're investing good time there and investing in your relationships outside of work, if that's chaos, it's really hard to not bring chaos to work.
Oh yeah.
And that's okay. Like we want you to bring your whole self, but like you got to prioritize outside of work too, so that you can prioritize intimate.
It's all connected. There's no really getting away. It's just making that scale balance.
How do you balance it out and save a little bit for the house? That's a little energy for the house. So still trying to figure that out.
No,
that's not good at that.
No, I tell everybody all the time. I was like, I don't believe in. Everybody's like, you have to have a good balance. I'm like, look. So the truth of the matter is, if you're going to get anything done in life, that the way I look at it is the scale is always going to be tipped. And a mentor told me this one time. Yeah, and I'm totally making it sound late term, idiot term.
Yeah, tell it to me like I'm not.
Yeah. So you take a scale, which is a weighing system, and now the scale is always going to be tipped. It's your job just to make sure it's not tipped one direction for too long.
Yeah, I like that. That's great.
That's the truth.
You're right.
That's the truth. Because if it's always going this direction and it never really has any give.
Yeah. And that's software. Like oftentimes that has to change within the day, right?
Oh yeah.
You gotta, and I live in Fayetteville, so it's nice to have like a little bit of a commute home because I can kind of be like, all right.
You can get a lot done in that commute too.
Yeah.
I do the same. I live in Prairie Grove.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
you can get a lot done. You can get your game houses, your face on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody and gripe about it, so you have to bring it home if you have to. It's true. It's true. It is. I've done that a few times. You're never gonna believe this. So before we end, number one, we don't have enough time. We never have enough time on these things, but I have thoroughly enjoyed it.
Man, thanks for having me.
Well, we ain't done yet.
Oh shoot.
Because you told me you were going to bring me something.
Yeah, that's right. I did. One of our long-standing clients here
Good.
Dude wipes. Got you covered from head to toe.
Awesome. This will get me to a Christmas season.
Hope so, yeah. All right. Oh, here's the holiday 100-pack, Matt.
100 pack?
Yeah. It's a mint chill.
2 weeks. It's 2 weeks.
I didn't have any of the Dumpkin spice left. No, these are, love Dude Wipes. Good.
Yeah.
Partners of it.
So let's talk about them just for a second. Well, actually, real quick, how long have you been working with them now?
Gosh, I should know this better.
3 or 4 years, ain't it?
No, I think over 5. Yeah.
Oh, man, so y'all were with them from day one.
Yeah, so very early on. Funny story, I saw their episode on Shark Tank.
Uh-huh.
Came in the next day, was talking to this other guy at work. He's like, I saw that too. And we got on their website, and I just typed in their contact us. I was like, hey, saw your episode. It was awesome. Love your product. Think it's hilarious. Also think it's really smart. If you ever need help at Walmart, Sam's Club, let us know. Within the hour, I got an email back from the CEO. Like
John Riley.
John was still answering like their contact us thing from their website, which speaks to their company a lot too.
Well, so I'll say this too. A friend told me this about him, but like, and I probably shouldn't be telling this because it'll make it worse for him. But hey, he put it out there. His contact information is wild, easily out there.
Yeah,
like
he's so
involved in everything. But I love the product. I do, and I love honestly the attitude that he's presented himself on social. Now, I've never had the opportunity to meet him. I've met several of his staff.
Yeah,
and everybody
good people,
just good. Warm-hearted, loving life people.
Yeah.
And that's what helps sell the brand. But I will say to this, what I love more about the company is, and because I have a heart for it myself, is the guerrilla marketing tactic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because, back in the day, and I've studied kind of the stuff that they did, and it's brilliant. They didn't have a dime, and they were going to these college games.
Yeah,
where the commentators are up there at the round tables, and they were paying people to hold Dude Wipe signs in the background.
Yes,
that's brilliant.
Yeah,
and the fun approach, to wiping your butt.
Yeah,
that they take. If
there's a sports moment that involves a bathroom situation, they are so good at like within 24 hours like that. They did it with a baseball pitcher. They sponsored the next day by Dude Wipes. I mean, they're fun. They're fun to work with.
Boxers with wipes on there.
Super smart, smart guys, but also, very genuine and down-to-earth guys, too.
Well, that's awesome. Dude. Well, maybe one day Sean Riley will face the presence of the Matt Woolley Podcast.
If you're listening out there, Sean.
Come on, if you're hearing.
Matt is desperate.
I'm desperate, please. I'll interview. Please let me interview. Thank you for this gift.
Absolutely. Enjoy that through the holidays.
Thank you for this time.
Yeah.
And I hope you'll come on again.
Hey, if you'll have me, we can talk
anytime. Well, we can always we can blast through. We could go Rogan experience for this 3 hours.
Yeah, 3 hours.
It can be done. We can do it. All right.
Thanks for your time.
Appreciate it,
having me, buddy.
All right, man.
I'll see you.